and the other just as bad.
My dad.
And when your knees won't work, you just can't travel.
My dad has 2 new knees.
Uh-huh.
2 knees. They still don't work.
Uh,
He's like this. He's bedridden a bit. Not a whole lot.
well, arthritis gets in there and just eats those joints up. They told me when I had them x-rayed last time that the arthritis was just eating those joints clear out. So that's got a lot to do with it. After I had it broke and so forth, that's where that arthur takes over.
Is it recording? Some record? Just wanted to make sure. Double check. Double check always. I'm going to try something. Let's turn it on. Mary, you can probably refresh George's memory about some interesting stories that you might know that you know about ranching, about the movies, about how Moab's changed, about specific characters around Moab.
Well, he can tell you much better than I can. About the older, I can tell you recently, but not. Of course, I've been here a long time. We've been married 39 years.
You know, what I'd like to do is get you guys sitting together somehow. Get in the bed with George or something. I'd like to get her too.
Oh, goodness, no.
Okay, we won't make you if you don't know. The microphone's not in the camera, not in the shot. I want to hear more about John Ford. I love John Ford. I love his movies.
Yeah,
He was
he was real rough and all, but he was a good guy. He treated me real good. But if somebody didn't ante up about right, he could sure eat them out.
Have you told him about crossing the cows against the sun? Has he told you that?
Crossing the cows for Ford?
Against the sun. Against the sun?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he one day he wanted me to cross those cows that one way. This one morning. I'd taken him up there where he wanted to cross them the evening before, and had about 50 head or something, and I had an older brother and a guy working for me, helping me, and to cross them, and he decided he wanted them out on that island up there, and then bring them to him in the morning, and he's coming straight towards the sun. And I said, it won't work. What the hell do you know about it? Well, I didn't say no more. Never said another word, but it cost him just a half a day with the whole crew. You couldn't, when that water's coming out, or I mean that sun's hitting that water and coming up like that, you can't bear to look at it. You can't bear to look down even if you're crossing, even riding a horse or something. That just puts your eyes out, and you can't cross cows against that sun when it's like that on the river. And any old guy that used to know those trail herds years ago that I talked to years ago that come up the trail 100 years ago with those cattle, they tell you that they couldn't. You had to wait and pick your time of day to cross. You couldn't swim cows against that sun, because when you get right down next to that water and that sun's coming right off of there, it just puts your eyes out. Really, really bad. And it's pretty bad just even up on a horse. But you could see a cow with just her head sticking out, how that'd be, or a horse with just her head sticking out. It just don't work. And when he said he wanted to do this certain time, and I said, well, it won't work. What the hell do you know about it? Didn't say another goddamn word. That next morning, had the cows rail on them, got the camera set up over there, and we was looking right straight into the sun. We were just up there a little ways, and you couldn't get a cow's foot wet. Hell, you couldn't get a cow to get out there far enough to wet their feet. They just wouldn't go against it, no way. Fought them till goddamn near noon. And I had all the stunt men and everybody he had out there on a horse trying to help me. Besides the cowboys I had, wouldn't work. So after a while he come over there chewing that old cigarette handkerchief hanging down there, and he had one of the stunt men on a horse coming by him so he wouldn't drown himself. And he got over there and he said, okay, tell me what you want to do. How do you want to do it? He gave up. I said, well, let us get these cows across there one at a time after a while when the sun got up there high enough. And then you set your cameras up over here on this island, and I'll swim them right to it. So that's what he did. So that's where he finally done it. But he sure hated to admit it if he was a little wrong. Or something.
How about when you and John Wayne went up Onion Creek looking for horses?
Oh, there's one time I tell him about what time we went up. You mean up Onion Creek?
Mm-hmm. Did you tell him that?
And he told me that morning. He said, "You take Duke," and I had him a pickup. Archie Stout was second unit. Cameron, and his helper, and old Grant Withers, one of the old movie star who was there on the deal. He went with us, and then we had all the cavalry, and it was a long ways up there. We got up there, and then of course John Wayne got a little carried around. He wanted a lot of directions, so he was in the back of the pickup with the cameraman and Archie Stout, and had these guys coming down through there, and Duke made a big deal out of it and took a long time, and pretty soon here come old Unc, Ford's brother-in-law, Wingate Smith. He come up there and tried to get us out of there. Didn't quite work. Pretty soon they sent somebody else, and when Duke got through, down through there, filming them from out of the back of my pickup, then we went on over to where they was set up on Professor Creek, where they was filming, where they had that big building built to lunch. And of course they'd had lunch 2 hours before that. Oh, the old man was mad. Duke and I sat down under. They had to fly up over a place there on some legs, so it was a little in the shade to eat. They'd left some stuff, see, but the cooks had left, and he was filming right up there by that old church house they had built. He looked down and seen us. He had a guy come down and jerk that tarp off. He said, Duke said, the old man's getting even with us. The old man's getting even with us. He put us out in the sun. He didn't let us eat in the shade.
John Wayne is an icon here. I mean, he's
well, I liked him because he was good to me, and one thing and nothing wrong, but he was goddamn rough on some of them hands. I didn't like the way he balled some of them out. A lot of times, some of the crew, or something. If it didn't look just right or wasn't doing just right, he could really, especially when they made common churros. The last time he was there, when they made common churros, I didn't like the way he balled some of them out, but he was practically running that deal too. And that old guy that was the director on it was getting real old, and he was an old guy that had made a lot of westerns in his life, but he was getting old and he didn't see too good and so forth.
Honey, he had cancer.
Huh?
He had cancer.
Yeah.
He was dying.
Right. And I felt sorry for him. But God, Duke just was pretty goddamn rough on a lot of those guys. And a lot of those laborers and stuff from Hollywood, he really liked to chew them out.
No, I can't think of anything else.
Hey, Miki,
But then one of the first time when they made that Rio Grande, every few days, Ford was waiting for that. After I told him he couldn't cross that river, well, that was the second time he was here though, but couldn't cross that river in high water. Well, the river would have been high, and so every few days he'd take Duke or somebody and go to the river and see if we could still cross it, if there's a place we could cross it. Finally, I done it one time, and I had to swim the horse across there. Of course, that wouldn't work for the cavalry. You'd drowned half of them. They wouldn't know how to swim a horse. Finally, it got down to where it was all right. I told him, then they went over there and filmed it. We was there about one day but filmed that cavalry back and forth across that river there, and even some of those wagons they had, like the cavalry had those different wagons. I forget what you called them, but I knew then. But anyway, they would even cross some of them with teams on them, across the river there. But that was up there by that Locomotive Rock, out to that island, where John Hoare lives now.
that's the story.
Were you the first one to work with Hollywood?
Pardon?
Were you the first one to work with Hollywood?
To work with, was I the first one to work with?
With the movies?
It was the first time they come here, yeah. Yeah, it wasn't the first movies, but the first time they come to Moab, when they made Wagon Master first.
Wagon Master. It's a good movie.
Hmm?
It's a good movie.
Yeah, yeah.
What picture was it that you killed the beef for and made jerky, and then the crew ate it, and what was it they...
That was a different director and all.
Yeah, I know, but
That was-
that's
but-
what he wants to.
Yeah, yeah. This one director, he wanted some jerky, a lot of jerky. They had some tents set up in Castle Valley, and where they were supposed to be, all these people was living at that time or something. I don't know. It didn't make any sense to what the hell they was doing there, but anyway, that's what it was. And so this director wanted. That wasn't Ford, but he wanted that director. He wanted some jerky, and so I had a couple of 2-year-old steers in there. I was feeding. I was going to butcher, fat, and so I killed one of them and jerked it, the whole goddamn thing, and of course it was kind of expensive because usually when they make jerky they use some old cow or an old bull, especially the real cheap stuff. That's what they usually make, what they use for jerky because it's tough, and then that's one way to take care of it. Anyway, I didn't have that, and I had those big fat steers, so I killed one of them. And I told this guy about that, who was in charge of it. It wasn't Ford. It was the guy that was in charge of that, and I told him, I said, now these here's prime beef, ready to go, and I said, they're not old hulls or something. I got to have the price of what I could get if I sold them for beef, So I had a lady help me up there, a handsome lady, and when the guy that was working for me jerked a hell of a lot of that. Jerked a lot of that meat out there. Took one of those big iron kettles out in the yard and got, that hold about 20 a gallon or 30, and went to cutting those strips and putting it in there, and then with all that salt, see, hell of a lot of salt, and then hang it up on the clothesline and dry it. and then it'll keep from then on. And even the flies don't usually bother it when after it's got all that salt in it and everything, you know. And so when I went to settle up with that director and seen the price of that goddamn jerky, because I told him, but he didn't catch on first. But he did after he had to pay for it. He had to pay what they was worth otherwise, see. Besides, they done all that killing, all that other stuff for nothing. Besides getting it ready for nothing.
Or didn't the crew eat it?
But took it up there where they had this bunch of tents set up in this one camp deal, and put it out there on some lines, and goddamn crew ate it up. They finally wound up taking some old cloth and stuff and dig that in some paint and make it look kind of like that and hang it over the goddamn line. That's what they finally made for jerky, because the whole goddamn crew ate that goddamn jerky up before they even got film at all.
Must have been good jerky.
Yeah.
I bet it was delicious.
Yeah, the guy that was in charge of that, it wasn't Ford. And he bitched a little about it, but I told him exactly what the hell the deal was.
You
I
don't
said it's not my fault.
That was before we were married.
I
You
done
don't
this.
remember what his name was, huh?
I done
You
just what he
remember
told
the
me.
director? You don't remember what the director was?
What?
You don't remember the director's name for that one?
Oh, just a minute. I just got to think of the name of the picture first.
Well,
But,
Wagon Master?
Barbara, George what's called daughter, Barbara, was in that. Do you remember what that was?
Well, it had to be one of the three first ones.
Well, they filmed all around there, but this happened up in Castle Valley, just across the creek.
Well, look at your book and see which one it was.
Huh?
Look at that book and see which one it was.
Oh, I don't see it.
Which book is it?
It's be that first one.
This over here? Or here?
Yeah, that wasn't Ford.
Oh, let's see, I think you gave that to,
She had two of those pictures. She had two of these here they were going to give you a while ago.
yeah, well, it's
Well,
in that first
Well,
one.
that's what we're looking for, is one of those.
Oh,
It'll be in this one.
I think either one of them will have it in there, probably.
You think the picture, or the name of the picture?
Or it shows the different movies that was made here up at that time.
Been a lot, doesn't it?
Right here, this don't give the name of them. I think there's someplace here where it does.
Doesn't name the directors. I had that.
I think there's someplace here where they're listed.
Let me see if I can find it.
You said, oh, the name of the movie.
Is it right there?
Wagon Master, Rio Grande.
Well, yeah.
Apache.
Wagon Master was first.
Or what was the director?
Wagon Master was first. Rio Grande, Battle of Apache Pass, Border River.
Well, that's after
Let's
you-
see this. It wasn't Wagon Master, and it wasn't Rio Grande, that's where I was telling you about this up there in Castle Valley. And it wasn't Border River.
I took care of the ranch while he did this, so that's the reason I don't know a lot of things that happened after we were married.
Do you know Charlie Steen?
Pardon?
Do you know Charlie Steen?
Sure, I know.
Do you know how he's doing?
Well, not real well. I just knew him. I talked to him different times, but a little bit. I didn't know him real personally. A couple of my boys worked for him.
What, you would like to know when he first came here?
No, I'm going to, I'm just trying to set up an interview with Charlie Steen.
I saw him.
He lives real close to us.
I saw him first when he come here, and he come out to Cisco first. He was out at Cisco, and I don't know what the Christ. Of course, it was just all uranium deal. This wasn't pictures or nothing. This all uranium deal with Charlie Steen, and he was out to Cisco. In fact, they lived there for a while. And one time, when I was working that road out there, and that Saggers Wash there didn't have no bridge in it then, and every once in a while it was got boggy after a flood, or there would be days maybe a flood in it you couldn't even cross it. And this one time he got stuck out there. He had some claims out back at Dewey, out towards what they call Yellow Cat. That's his first deal, and he was living in Cisco. That's when he first come here, and then he got stuck in that goddamn horse. I got him out of there. I had a long cable there just for that reason, and I had a 5-ton truck up there, and I could reach out there and get him, and then I was up on the bank and I could pull him out. And I got him out of there. That's the first time I saw Charlie Steen. But then after that, he come, and then from then on he went out there to Lisbon, you know, out there at the side of LaSalle. And that's where he hit that. That's where he hit that ore. To start with, I don't think he knew ore from any rock. Just like that. He was from Texas. He come up from Texas. Huh?
He was a geologist.
Oh, he said he was, but he wasn't.
All right.
He claimed to be, but he wasn't. He never was. I had guys try to look that deal up. Guys that was geologists. He was no geologist. He claimed to be a geologist, and he claimed that he found it through that, but hell, he just staggered on it. And he found that, when he found that ore out there, after he was out there, then he went over there below the shelter, down in Indian Canyon, or out there in Dry Valley, and run onto this there, and he wasn't even right sure what he had. And he was going to Grand Junction, and he went through Cisco, and I knew this one guy real well that run the store out there, and he carried the mail to Castleton. Can't say his name just offhand now, but I know him for a few years. Anyway, he showed him that, and this guy knew it. He told Steen what it was. So then he took it and had it analyzed or whatever it was, found out pretty good, and then he staked that deal. But he had an old run-down rig. It was just a sloppy goddamn deal. And his mother, I guess, had the money to start with, most of it. And he went through all of that about before he ever got that deal. They were just right down to where they didn't hardly have nothing to eat, because the guys that was around there told me about it. But then when he hit that and come up with that, well, hell, everybody was wanting to let him have money or something. So when he found out what he had down there, it wasn't real high grade, but there was a lot of it. It was worth that. Well, that mine was held worth $1 million or $2 million just its own. To tell you the truth, yeah.
See, they used to haul vanadium down.
Pardon?
I say they used to haul vanadium down from.
Oh yeah, years ago. Hell, during the First World War, they even took vanadium out of here, you know, to harden that steel with, you know, that vanadium steel. They mined that, and for quite a while they didn't do anything much with that uranium. Now up there, Polar Mesa, that's back up the river and up on the big mesa out from the mountain. They mined that up there during the First World War, up there at that time. But they was getting. They had some different ideas about it at that time during the First World War. Around that time, when they mined that, they was getting the vanadium for the steel. See, but the uranium was with it. That was the deal. They threw a lot of that uranium out, and then when they found out what that was, they went back up there. Hell, they hauled I don't know how many goddamn truckloads down there that run pretty high, hauled it out the mills that would run pretty high in uranium. just shoveled it up if they'd cast aside, because they was looking for vanadium then to toughen steel, see, during the First World War. Yeah, steam is right down to where they didn't even have enough to eat. When he hit that, then everybody was ready to let him have money, see, when they found out what he had down there. I don't know how much. It took a lot of money out of there. It took a lot of ore out of there. A lot of money down there, big Indian, south of LaSalle. But he didn't find nothing out around Cisco, not Yellow Cat area, enough to do any good much. They did different ones later on did mine it quite a bit and haul quite a bit of it out of there, but it wasn't no big deal. But that was the first time I saw him, was when I pulled him out of that wash up there above Dewey.
Did you know Ben Johnson?
Pardon?
Did you ever meet Ben Johnson?
How he stayed with me at the ranch.
Talk about it.
Well, of course, he was here several different pictures. Ben was here quite a few different pictures. He was a pretty good friend of mine, and one time when he was here, he come stayed with us at the ranch for a little while, and.
I'm looking for it.
Start over about Ben Johnson.
Oh. Well, he was here. Of course, he was here. The first picture that Ford made, Rio Grande. He was here with that. Him and Harry Carey both was here on that. Of course, it was a hell of a big crew, you know. And then he was back here. He worked on 10 Who Dared, and I think he was here about either 3 or 4 times. But he was here at Wagon Master first. The first time he come here was Wagon Master, and he was Ford was trying to make a star out of him then. He was supposed to be the top guy, star out of him. Ben didn't go for that too much, you know. But he went along with it, and Ford tried to treat him like he would some big star or something, and they'd haul him out there in one of them big old stretch outs and haul him back to town a little early or something. And Ben told me he was kind of making fun of it, because he had to take it, but because that was the money. But yeah, Ford was trying to make a star out of him. But Ben was a hell of a nice guy. He came down there and stayed there at the ranch with us for a day or two. One time we went across, horses went across the river hunting one time. Well, that was when they made, one time was when they made 10 Who Dared. But then the first time he was here was on Rio Grande with Ford. Those are, I mailed quite a few of them. And
Talk about the Film Commission.
about what?
The Film Commission.
Film crew?
The Film Commission.
Oh. Well, I started that.
Just a minute.
Yeah, I started that.
Could you?
Well, made several trips to Hollywood to get the movies, you know, and one thing and another, and then helped them locate and everything that they needed. while he was here too, you know.
This may help you remember. But
What's that, Mom?
oh, a little reminder.
Oh, son of Cochise,
Well, there's more than that.
Douglas Sirk, Rock Hudson. Tom Shaw. Tom Shaw and his dad was both here on one picture one time. First time I met him.
Gary Hopper was.
Oh, that was George Sherman and the director, and then Joel McCrae, Giovanni DiCarlo, Alfonso Badea. It's all made up in Professor Valley. I dressed and played a Mexican in that. Yeah. And we done some river crossing on that one. Yeah, one place there, we took the camera crew and the camera across the river in a boat and set up where they could film that from the other side. Tom Shaw and his dad, and Frank Shaw. That's the border.